So, Sound of Freedom is a film that we've been talking about a little bit on this channel. In today's video, myself and my co-reviewer John, who haven't actually seen the film because we live in the UK, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the media shenanigans and some of the hit pieces that have been going on with this. Before I get to it, I'll show you a quick 2-minute clip from Fox News because they've done some recent coverage. Now, obviously, I'm not a fan of Fox News as such. It's the mainstream media. These guys are a bunch of shills, but they have been doing some decent coverage, so credit where credit's due.
Sound of Freedom has been one of the biggest film surprises in recent memory. And although the mainstream media has ceased talking about it, its message is too important for us to stop talking about. As of last weekend, it's still among the highest grossing films in America and has made more than $155 million in 1 month, outpacing Mission Impossible. In the background of all of this success, the mainstream media kept telling us that Sound of Freedom was based on a wacky conspiracy theory full of QAnon-based concepts. Watch.
It has the backing of not just Republicans and religious conservatives, not just Ted Cruz and Elon Musk, but also QAnon folks and the internet's tinfoil hat brigade.
These films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites.
Bogus. They want us to believe them and ignore the real news and real travesty that Sound of Freedom aims to spotlight.
So that's where we're at with things. Again, sorry we haven't used Fox News footage there. I'm not a fan, but they've done some fairly decent coverage, to be fair. So they kind of got us to the point where we're at now with this. So we're going to pick up and, yeah, we'll take it from there.
Another follow-up to a video we did. Well, I think we've done a couple of videos a couple of weeks ago talking about Sound of Freedom, and there's been updates. Obviously, we know now that there's international release dates. UK gets, is it September 1st?
I believe it's either September 1st or September 2nd. I just can't remember if international is August 31st or not. It's basically a day after international.
I believe that is the case, yeah. So we're going to be sorting out getting to watch this. But it's done really well. What's the latest? Was it 150 million, 160 million, something like that?
165 million.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's doing better than the Mission Impossible film, I think.
Yeah, it's outperformed Mission Impossible. It's, well, not fully. I suppose, really, in terms of budgets, it's outperforming Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible. The two that have really taken off, but I think they would have struggled around the same time. Well, no, Barbie wouldn't have done. Barbie has got a different audience, but you've got Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So there's been some developments as well. There's been some fairly, a really crazy attempt at what's the word I'm be looking for? Guilt by association, discrediting the movie because of something that somebody who funded to the crowdfunder that they'd been involved with. It's been framed as child kidnapping, saying that one of the funders of the movie has been involved in child kidnapping. But when you actually look at it, you get a bit of a different story. Do you want to tell us about that anyway?
Yeah. So basically, the Sound of Freedom it started to be created in 2015. I think that's where the first draft came in, 12 months after all of the media had congratulated Tim Ballard on rescuing the children, which is subsequently in the film Sound of Freedom. I think it was Operation Railroad, I think. I'll clarify that point. So, the film gets created by Fox. Fox get absorbed into Disney. Disney shelve it. Angel Studios decide they're going to crowdfund to get it out. So, to get yourself in the credits, you need to be classed as a funder. A funder has to raise or donate, a minimum of $500. We know that there are 6,000 funders, so that's 6,000 at a minimum of 500 each. One of these funders is a guy called Fabian Marta, and he gave the funds, And subsequently, and this is factual, he has been charged with felony child kidnapping, having previously posted saying he's proud to be a part of Sound of Freedom. Now, here's the thing. Fabian Marta is a landlord. His tenant is involved in a custody dispute. So in his building, you've got mother, you've got child, and you've got the father who is in a custody dispute, and you've got Fabian Marta, who is the landlord. That is the information as we have it. I'm not making any aspersions from there, but it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination to think that the father's going to, or the mother is going to go at the landlord for saying, my child's in there, can you please have him done for aggravated child felony kidnapping? It wouldn't be a stretch. Equally, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that he has committed the worst crime possible. But that's the information as I understand it.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a stretch to try to discredit the movie, because I've been involved in these kind of fundraising campaigns myself. In fact, I think I've got some. Yeah, on the shelf behind me here, there's this series. Obviously, it's not quite as earnest a thing as Sound of Freedom, but these documentaries was In Search of Tomorrow, which was a sci-fi documentary. In Search of Darkness 1 and 2, which were horror documentaries, and In Search of the Last Action Heroes. You put money towards it, you get your name in the credits. It wasn't quite £500 in this case, because I think this had a broader audience of interest, because it was to do with pop culture stuff. God, there were a lot of people donated to this. I think I put in about £50 or something. You get a lot of stuff and your name in the credits. You get a Blu-ray copy as well. So if I was involved with some shenanigans, for example, and for whatever reason somebody wanted to discredit these movies, they could say funder of In Search of the Last Action Hero, involved in whatever I've been involved in, and discredit that movie. But it'd be a very lame attempt at discrediting with that. And people have run with it. The mainstream media ran with this, didn't they?
Yeah, they have absolutely run with it. Daily Mail, that's where I got this information from about Fabian Marta. In terms of what he's involved with, I got that from a guy called Matt Walsh on the Daily Wire. So it's a case of piecing it together, isn't it? Looking down what's going on. So if you look at it, and I like the way that Matt Walsh put it as, so there's another way to go it. Oh, have you heard, guess what I've heard on the news today? I've heard that a guy is a landlord and he's been arrested for child felony kidnapping, and there's a mother and a child and a father who are involved in a custody dispute in the landlord's property.
Yeah, it'd be like a non-story.
It's kind of like there's a lot of conjecture, but of course 2 + 2 is going to equal 5, or 2 + 2 could equal 3, depends which side you fall on. Common sense dictates let this play it out as I think it should be played out, and let's see what comes of it.
Yeah, and luckily the kind of people that are aware of what's going on, that aren't in denial about what's going on with the whole child trafficking thing, on the scale that it's going on and the ease at which it's allowed to go on. That's the thing. There's many different facets to it. I mean, we know bad things happen, but the scale of it and the ease of it and how it's been enabled by certain political interests as well as criminal ones, obviously, that work hand in hand. Those kind of things obviously kind of come together with this movie. So hence you've got this very determined effort to discredit the movie, because it's basically, well, red pilling a lot of people, I guess, if it's gone mainstream in terms of box office. This isn't just some film that's been a straight to video release. It's really been an event, and a lot of people know about this as well. A lot of normies know about this.
Yeah, this has got the potential to salvage Jim Caviezel's career, or put it back on a trajectory that it should have been on had he have not played Jesus in Passion of the Christ. Because let's not forget that was a really bad decision for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well,
I've no clue. Yeah, he's doing a sequel, but it's like since that film, he's literally done nothing. Since that film, Mel Gibson has done nothing. They've been tarnished, haven't they? Mel Gibson's got his own issues, which we know about, but neither of them have really been.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they've he did a few little things here and there, like Hacksaw Ridge. Obviously, he was a director, so it was easy to watch that film without associating it with Mel Gibson in a way. I mean, I personally am a big fan of his, and I know he's obviously done a lot of stupid stuff and said a lot of stupid, like nasty stuff. But he's also done a lot of good stuff as well. You can see he's a bit crazy, but he's one of them crazy people that occasionally says something that not a lot of people are prepared to say in Hollywood.
Well, he's hitting the nail on the head, isn't he? The first part of Eradication is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom, and I can't say that. And I talked about it in our last video. You know, I've got reasons for supporting this film, and I would absolutely say to anybody, if you need to understand what's going on, you need to be aware. To be aware, that'll lead to eradication, and you just go watch Sound of Freedom. People will look at it, and I think this leads into the next point that we were going to raise, where I've been watching the news and I'm continuously getting this, there's a narrative going on from certain aspects of the media saying it feeds into the Donald Trump and QAnon conspiracies. It's a right-wing thing. Well, the problem I have with that is it's based on a true story. It's based, I think I touched on this at the beginning of this, it's based on an actual
Operation Railroad.
Yeah, Operation Underground Railroad. The year before the script started to get written, all of them, Rolling Stones, NBC, they were all saying that what they'd done is absolutely brilliant. So the script gets started in 2015. The film must have been made around 16, 17. It was set for release on 18, got absorbed into Disney, got crowdfunded out. All of a sudden now, because it's coming out in 2023, suddenly it's got a QAnon narrative. Now, whether or not you hold any sway with the QAnon stuff, whether you hold any sway whatsoever with the Trump things, all of that film, I'm sorry, but this film cannot be tarnished with that, because it was created and filmed before any of this came about. So you can't, well, no, you can hijack things for your own personal things, can't you? As we know and we've talked about. But you can't suddenly say this is a right-wing conspiracy film when it actually isn't a right-wing conspiracy film. You sort of look on this, don't you? Sound of Freedom, it's shining a light on what's going on. As far as I've understood, under the Biden administration, there have been 85,000 minors delivered into the United States of America, and nobody knows where they are. That's the very definition of trafficking. Now, these children may be in good homes. These children may not be in good homes. These children may be. I've seen some things in my own personal life. You know, you dread to think the worst case scenario. When you've seen the worst case scenario, you know what the worst case scenario is. The problem for me is, where are these children? They might be, like I said, they might be absolutely safe. In that case, tell us the names of these children, give us IDs, show us where the parents are, so the parents can know that they're safe. And that, I don't think that'd be too hard to ask for.
Well, you know what they would say? They would say that what you've asked for there is two things. It's right wing and it's racist, which to me says a lot more about the left wing and the position of the people that are saying that than it does us and those that aren't us, i.e. the racists and the right wingers, because we're neither.
Funny thing, all I said there, and you're right, but all I said there was there's been 85,000 minors delivered into America under the Biden administration, and you're absolutely right. I did say that. Didn't mention a colour, a creed, a race. I just stated a fact, and I do this on purpose. I try and when I'm talking on my own channel, I try and remove any reference to anything that could make it you're doing that because you've got an agenda. There's no agenda to it. The agenda is keeping children safe. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's because if I wanted, if you were touching on offending my political point of view, the easiest way for me to shut you down is to call you racist on a right winger, because that's the quick and easy way to do it. And it's just, I'm tarring you with a load of black paint, basically. And then nobody will endorse you after that. And it's the whole cancel culture thing.
Now, what I
But
would say is that going back to the 2014 operation, CNN, NBC, CBS, and Rolling Stone all covered the actual operation. The film, CNN have since said, have had a guy on speaking saying the film has been created out of moral panic and it contains bogus stats. However, as uncomfortable as it is, there are truths. On the 1st of August, now despite NBC being one of the channels who are deriding the film, on the 1st of August 23, they reported that the FBI finds 200 sex trafficking victims, 59 missing children in a 2-week sweep. So on one hand, they're saying that the film is based on bogus stats and it's been created out of moral panic. And yet, in the next breath, they're saying that the FBI have found 200 sex trafficking victims and 59 missing children in a 2-week sweep.
In the wake of those on the left telling us that child trafficking is a conspiracy, they occasionally take a break to report the truth, the inconvenient truth. This courtesy of NBC News. The FBI found 200 sex trafficking victims and more than 125 suspects during a 2-week child exploitation operation in July, federal officials said on Tuesday. Wait, can this report be right? Wasn't this all a giant conspiracy? So in the same month that Sound of Freedom was released, our own FBI simultaneously found 200 sex trafficking victims in America. Not a foreign country, right here at home.
yeah, well, that's the thing. That was the Orwellian doublethink. It's the ability to hold two contradictory thoughts together in the same mind. So that is a classic example of what we're talking about.
But sex doesn't exist, according because it's Sound of Freedom's. It's an agenda, so it can't.
Yeah.
And yet, on one hand, that they're praising the FBI.
Yeah. No, I mean we are aware, obviously, that there are legitimate right wingers, like far right wingers we've seen in the UK that use the whole grooming gang scandals in the UK, like Rotherham and so on, to push their own agenda forward. And I'm not going to name names because I don't promote those people, but we know who they are. We know that it's done. That is just another example of a kind of virtue signal. It's people with very shady, very questionable morals and political ideologies trying to use something that everybody can get on board with because it's a way of kind of recruiting new members. That's not what this film is. There's a massive difference. I know the difference. And obviously that's something that a lot of people are wary of. But the left wing do it as well because they've got very shady postmodernist neo-Marxist ideologies. And they have used identity politics and anti-racism in inverted commas, and it is in inverted commas, because they know people are against racism. I'm against racism, but to question what they're doing would be therefore being racist because they're anti-racist. It's one of those things. The left and the right do it.
It's why I know that we've got a position in life. It certainly isn't. I know which side of the fence. I would say the far extremities of left and right is a dangerous place to be.
Mm.
That's whether it's far left, far right. Effectively the walking hand in hand. It's two sides of the same coin. It really is two sides of the same coin when you get to extremism.
And we tend to focus on what the far left are doing because they're the ones actually running the show effectively. The whole thing becomes a scam anyway because the left wing to me is kind of defined by centralization, power, military dictatorship, concentration camps, identity politics. And then on the other end of the extreme, the total opposite of that is the far right, which is defined by centralized control, military dictatorship, concentration camps, identity politics. It's like the two are the same, but it's the far left that is, the ones that are the ones that can get you fired if you question them. Basically,
it's far left are driving agendas such as using terminologies as minor attracted persons.
Yeah.
I could really let rip on that. I appreciate that I'm not on a channel to let rip, but I'm hearing that coming in more and more. I believe it was mentioned by a Scottish police force. It was driven out of Europe. They were referring to something in a document as minor attracted persons. They subsequently apologised for that. I need to check it out. It was last year. I can't find my other device. If you Google Scottish Police Force MAPs, you'll see the story, and then they blame Europe for why it's coming about. So it's a bit of a strange thing going on. I find it it's very unsettling for me personally that we can get to a position where we are diminishing what a paedophile is. You know, this is the sort of thing. I'm just very careful about what I'm saying because I'm doing a piece of work about another part of my life, so I'm just being very careful about what I say right now. There's not because there's any sort of not because I'm going to mention names, but because of what the subject, what actually happened. So I'm being careful not to talk about that. But when somebody can actually say, well, he or she is a minor attracted person, why don't you sit in a room and see what happens when a minor attracted person is left alone with sometimes a
Vulnerable.
preschool. Yeah, sometimes preschool, sometimes toddlers, sometimes younger than that. Let's not forget what Ian Watkins was, the Lost Prophets, what he was wanting and was getting pictures of, and what he was convincing people to do, and that involved babies. And it is utterly sick, and I really wish him all the worst after his attack.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, we'll wrap this up. Obviously, we haven't seen the film because we live in the UK. I've been tempted to see if there's like a torrent of this just so I can like get it watched and talk with a bit more authority about the actual film itself. But there's nothing popped up that I've seen, and I do want to. I mean, either way, I'm going to be supporting this film in the cinema. I'm going to go see it. But at the moment, it looks like options for getting hold of it over here are a bit limited. So September 1st, obviously, that's when we're going to hopefully around then when that comes out, we'll be straight on that. So we'll be able to bring a review.
Absolutely, I would be interested to see. I keep looking to see if there's going to be a premiere over here, and I'm going to be. I've already signed up to Operation Railroad. I've signed up to quite a few things, and I'm trying to progress a few things off camera that may or may not come to fruition. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it'll be quite an interesting conversation. It'll be quite an interesting three-way conversation we might have, my friend.
Yeah, we'll keep to that. We'll anything about that on this channel, and obviously if you go to brandxreviews.com, that's kind of links you through to another website that gets into sort of culture war stuff, but we also cover pop culture things as well in that context, which includes Sound of Freedom and any updates regarding that. So if there is anything I can share, I can put it up there. That's no problem.
Brilliant stuff. And yeah, please, anybody watching, get yourself to see Sound of Freedom, read up about Tim Ballard, make your own mind up about Tim Ballard before you go see the film. Don't read into it's like with anything, isn't it? Don't just assume that what's being put out there is the correct narrative. What's being put out is a narrative. Whether the truth comes into that narrative is conjecture.
Yeah, no worries. Right, well, we'll leave it there. Yeah, no problem at all.